So,
Mm.
Harry, so you're the guy who builds all the crazy decks, and you're known for being the crazy guy. So this question is perfect for you.
What is up, guys, and welcome to the Nexus Podcast, Season 2, Ep.7. Hope everyone is doing well. It's a pleasure to be doing this podcast for you, as always. This season is flying by. But yeah, we're gonna get straight into it. How you doing, Emmy? How you feeling?
I'm good. Yeah, season 2, episode 7 already. It feels like we started season 2 yesterday. But definitely been enjoyable so far. Thanks everyone for watching, liking, commenting. We've opened a Discord, so you will find it in the description. You can come join us. We run games. We'll talk about it. We have also online locals, so looking forward to see you guys there. But yeah, I'm doing well. Just a lot going on in life right now, but we still have time to talk about BSS with the boys.
Always. What about you,
How
Harry?
about you, Harry?
Yeah, good. Started a new client role this week. Been fun. Been in the office quite a lot. Turns out my boss is a One Piece player, so a fellow Bandai alumni. And yeah, just been having fun talking to him about that. He had a lot of Pokemon cards back in the day as well. So
nice.
He's chatting to the future European champion, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. No, it's always good to have.
Yeah.
How soon is it?
After Wolves, actually.
Wow.
So finally, on my first day at work, I was like, oh yeah, I need to book the first Friday of April off on leave, and then later on was like, yeah, I'm doing it because I'm playing at the Pokemon Euros. It's like, oh, cool. So yeah, as I said, nerds of a feather working in IT, it's always a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How about you, Kieran? Lucky enough to pull the frog on Monday, frog champion. You've been treating yourself with that frog moolah.
Yeah. Not gonna be selling it, but it saves me money, which is quite nice, at the moment. Yeah.
Just for context, he pulled the frog from our locals, the online locals.
Yes, for the context, yeah. As we're doing that amazing Monday locals now, which we'll probably shill a bit more in a bit.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like locals is running full steam ahead. We did finally get our TP packs. I think everywhere in the country got their TP packs. I think as of last week
it got delivered. Or I think Bandai basically do intermittent deliveries of all of their promos for their games, so it kind of just came in all at once. I think great news for the players though, just in time for Wolverhampton. Well, yeah, I guess maybe it could have been a bit earlier, really. In reality, yeah. But
I will say, if any Play Nation enthusiasts, they opened a kit and they've given out 10 promo packs so far, and then not a single frog's been pulled. So if you want your chance of getting a frog, come on down. There's still probably at least there's a minimum of 2 still there, maybe 3.
But yeah, no, it's good to see a couple of frogs get pulled at the online locals, which was yeah.
Also, do you want to explain how we did it? The pulling of the packs.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that I've done in the past. Basically, we you just open all the packs at the end, and then depending on what place you get to choose what packs you get, and it makes it like a lottery sort of system. And I mean, it's a bit of fun, bit of banter. Everyone sort of freaked out when the frogs came out, and then I was like, one of the players pulled a frog, and then I pretended that he pulled another frog just to be like, nah, you didn't really. And he was like, oh,
it was 12 people as well.
Yeah,
so,
12 players.
Shout out
12 players.
Everyone who joined.
Bigger than most of the IRL locals.
Yeah.
And what stood out so much about Kieran pulling the frog was that he picked the number 13. He chose the most ominous, booky number, Where I
It's
work,
my-
they don't even have a floor 13.
Well,
because-
the frog's kind of a booky card, let's be honest. So it kind of works.
True, true.
It
should have Crush
13 is
13
my.
on it.
I just said 13 because it's my lucky number, man.
I mean,
How is that your lucky number, guys?
well, it must work for someone. But yeah, I mean, on the locals, as Emmy said, we now have a Discord that you can actually join. The link will be in the comments. There's also you can get it in our profile as well. But yeah, just a little announcement with the locals. This is something that's going to be taking place. It's going to basically become a league. So after every 12 events, there's going to be I'm going to do like a league table. So 3 points for every win you get, and 5 points for every 3 tournaments attended per player. So if they attend 6, they get 10 extra points. If they attend 9, they get 15. You know, it's just a kind of loyalty scheme in that respect. But basically, after 12 events, the top 8 players will fight it out in a knockout tournament for some nice prizes, which will be announced at a later date. But they will include cash, because I know that the Battle Spirits boys love the old cash prizing. Nothing too crazy, but just to make it a bit more fun and to encourage people to play. It's now open to the public as well. Previously, it was only open to kind of our WhatsApp group. So yeah, just join in the Discord for more details. It is limited space as well, guys, just so you know, only 16 per event at the moment. But might be able to make it bigger at some point, but we'll see.
I've heard the first prize is $7,000, right?
Yeah. 7 grand in expenses for you to get from your couch to your PC. And I book the transport basically. I call you and tell you to get off your ass. So yeah, nothing spent. Hopefully that's not how it's going to work in the season.
Really exciting. I think we'll work on maybe some graphics or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jesters have already asked for a poster. They want to start promoting in store for the online stuff, so that's kind of cool.
Maybe just a shout out to Jester if you want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jesters in Stockport, Manchester. Shout out to them. They managed to supply us as a community with kits for the tournaments. So yeah, we really appreciate them. Really great guys. Ash and Chris is a player within the community as well that works there. So we're hoping we're going to try and do some events in person there as well, which may tie in with the sort of locals as well. So let's see what the future holds. Really, the world is our oyster. But yeah, so today we are going to do a little locals report from the locals just gone, as well as prediction of the upcoming pre-release tournaments. This weekend we've got Oceania and South America, and then we've actually we're incorporating some of these Q&A questions at the end. So yeah, we'll get to it now. So we may as well, as we on the subject already, continue talking about the locals. So this week,
start with Harry, which is our champion.
Yeah, so this week we had 12 players, and it was a very diverse field. And Harry actually came out on top. So congratulations, Harry. Have a little chat about what you played. We have filmed some footage. I filmed 2 games. One was with Kieran and one was with Harry. So we kind of actually Emmy and Harry were in the first round. So we kind of had like a mini local podcast locals within the locals. It was kind of weird. So yeah, those 2 games will be coming out with commentary from Emmy and Harry. So yeah. Oh, they're probably already out actually, thinking about it. But yeah, if you enjoyed those, let us know in the comments.
Future trunks.
yeah, it's getting weird now. We've got more content, but it's nice. So yeah, Harry, talk about what you played. You don't have to go too into detail because it's kind of spicy.
Okay. So I mean, the week before I played like Ira Mandala, as we discussed, where yeah, Ira was just a bit of like a board stabilization and draw package with Mandala as the win con. I think a common criticism of Ira has been that it isn't the best finisher necessarily. Like you need something outside of it in order to really sort of seal it out. But my teammate, Mr. Soulcore himself, Jamie Chan, is a red veteran, Nova veteran. So this week we both just played pretty much a normal Star Dragons. I think his was uh, pretty darn normal, whereas I had a bit of Riz, let's say, in mind. Like in the run up to an event, I like to main stuff that I intend to side, just because then you see it more and you can see how it works. So I was maining like Turborex, Bacillus, Nemesis, Andrometeos. It was yeah, Blazing Boars and stuff as well. It was quite an experimental list, but I think the core of you know, like Ira, Nova, Gray, Big Bang,
the Blazing Ball.
Rubeus.
The Blazing Ball was
Blazing
punishing.
Ball
I mean,
was very clutch.
no, you know, you would have seen our potentially a game already, and Blazing Ball absolutely decimated me in both games. You know, the recursion loop that you played, it just put me to bed pretty much. I think when just another experience from playing against you, the aggression early as well, getting me down to 2 life, really made a huge difference. I just couldn't sort of recover from that, and then at that point you just had me by the proverbial balls, and yeah, just able to just finish me off with ease, it felt like. But yeah, amazing deck. Do you want to run through all your matchups?
Yeah, sure. I guess quickly on your, like, when you get to 2 life sort of point, like the game is clearly different in the set 4 meta, where, you know, for the most part, prior to set 4, being on 2 life is pretty fine. Obviously, you had like Double Heart and Feng Huang and stuff that could do double damage, but it was very like out there and rogue. Whereas
more
now,
niche,
like every
yeah.
deck has a way to deal 2 damage. So even beforehand, people were often ice shielding on 3, but now it's like it's pretty much sacrosanct, where like 3 is the new 2, where you know you can't go down to 2. So your goal is really to just push the 2. And yeah, in terms of the matchups, like it was pretty favorable in that I played 2 yellow, which I think we discussed it on last week's podcast. I think the yellow matchup was already unfavorable going into red, and now post Ira it's really difficult. So I played against your yellow. I also played against Kian playing yellow. He had a different take on his. He ran Air Avatar, made it a bit more 2-droppy, and I do recall him playing it very well in terms, because we spoke about this at locals. I think Kieran can recall where he was trying to find cards to side against Ira, and we were just like, you just sort of play it like you would in Infernal Bacillus matchup, where you just try to keep like 2 spirits on board, maybe the 3rd at most. And he was doing that really well with Air Avatar as one of the 2 to supplement it, but ultimately those creatures aren't well statted, and you will eventually like topple over that, whether it's with Nova. I actually didn't really see Nova throughout the entire tournament, basically. It wasn't until the last round where I healed, I think. And I ran 3 of it, so I guess I don't know, it's just like the luck of the
cards.
draw. I don't think I would up it to 4, but yeah, the yellow matchups are quite favorable into red anyway, so
absolutely,
so that was fine. And then yeah, the first round was against Emmy playing white control. I think game 1 was pretty even once the Frost Tiger was down, but then I had random Nemesis mained. And for context, I was maining 1 Impaler Forest as well, just to try it out. So all of those one-off spirits that I was trying was a bit more like, well, you have the toolboxing provided by Impaler Forest. Impaler Forest was mainly there for Blazing Boar, I guess. But then yeah, I was just trying again, like Turborex was okay, like it wasn't too good. Bacillus is quite specific in terms of what it's there for. Like it lets Nova punch over anything. It was okay. Nemesis was surprisingly good. But yeah, the Nemesis, as Emmy put it at the time, he was like, that's the most expensive deadly balance I've ever seen.
Yeah, Nemesis really messed me up because like you showed me only red cards, maybe the Impaler Force at that time, but mainly red cards. And then I played Tiger, and you had the Nemesis next turn, and then I tried to reestablish a board, and you had Turborex, and I was like, okay, what the fuck is this? And then I went into
evolved into a Turborex mirror.
Yeah,
That's Harry.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I was just like, I got out of those 2 games. I was like, what the fuck just happened? And then I didn't lose a single game for the rest of the tournament. But like at the beginning, I was like, shit, like. Okay,
yeah, you played against Jamie as well, right? He was also piloting like a similar Star Dragons list, and he said to me afterwards that Frost Tiger was really difficult for him to deal with. But yeah, he didn't run the Nemesis. He didn't top deck it like a lucky SOB.
What about your final match, Harry? How did that go?
Yeah, so that was an Ira mirror match, which is very swingy to be honest. It's just like, you know, he who draws the 1 ring wins type of thing. And game 1, I had the better draw, so I won. And then game 2, he was mostly on top game 2, but by the end, literally he showed me his hand on the last turn, and it was like 3 Nova, 2 Ira, no Big Bang, no Gray. And again, like we discussed Ancient Draw last week. It was really interesting. Like I played Ancient Draw in my list this time as well. Again, it was just a case of every Ancient Draw whiffing for everyone. Like I think Andrew in the last round, he played like 2 Ancient Draw in 1 turn. I don't think any of them hit. It was like bottom decking the Big Bangs and Ice Shields that he badly needed. So it's been quite interesting for me going into it, because like I ran Charge Draw for a while, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, logically there's no reason to run Charge Draw over Ancient Draw. Even if Ancient Draw whiffs a fair bit of the time, like you still have the chance of, even let's say 1 in 3 times you get an extra card off Ancient Draw.
Well,
it's like, okay,
I was talking
that's still better than Charge Draw.
I was talking to people about it today, and the reality is, like, say you're searching for Hydra. I know this is a different deck, but say you use Ancient Draw and you're searching for Hydra, and you draw 2 and you don't see Hydra, and then three cards aren't Hydra. It's sad that you didn't draw it, but you are now 10% more of the way through your deck to now find it. So, you know, there is still the benefit of at least filtering down to get to the target. So it's not a complete loss. It's not a complete loss, but obviously, you know, seeing if you need an Ice Shield and it goes to the bottom, then you kind of got yourself to blame, I think, in that instance.
Yeah, that was Trey's comment, right? Again, shout out our boy Trey. But yeah, strangely, again, to like compare it to Pollen, I think Impaler Forest makes a big difference in that respect, because if you mill a Hydra but you have Impaler Forest out, and you've still gotten into the Hydra against most things, and as we discussed last week, like bottom decking an Ice Shield might as well be milling an Ice Shield, unless it's a game where you both end up drawing through your whole deck. And
yeah,
but even in those games in which you draw through your whole deck, the last Ice Shield generally isn't that relevant.
Well, I mean,
it just depends on the deck and how essential the Ascend Spirit is to that deck. For Hydra's probably the biggest example of where you would run Ancient Draw, because Hydra is that important to that deck. Whereas for Red, like Red already has quite a lot of draw spells and stuff. So
does it potentially make it relevant, the order that you put the cards back on the bottom of your deck, though, in reality? Because some of these matchups do go very long, and if you're using multiple Ancient Draws, there's a chance that you could get down to, like, you know, just 10% left of your deck, and you know, your choice to put Ice Shield at the top of that stack of 6 that went to the bottom might win you the game. You know, it
is, yeah. Like Kieran might recall, like old school Vanguard. You remember Oracle Think Tank, where it's like there were a lot of effects like that. And I think in Battle Spirits, the closest equivalent would be like Michaela and Marigold, and things of that nature, where like if you had an old school set 1 like luster yellow deck, you know, Marigold with the Soul Core would look at the top 5. Michaela can sometimes be looking at 5, 6, 7 cards. Yeah, it is relevant. But in terms of ancient draw, like realistically, you're not running 4 ancient draw in a deck. It's probably
obviously not. Yeah,
between 1 to 3. So like you're
that
probably
that power boost. That power boost is pretty nice as well. You know, that can't be overlooked. Like I was always overlooking that, but that in reality is actually very cool.
Almost as good as the actual card power boost, but
yeah, true.
I digress.
But we better move on. So congratulations again, Harry. Obviously Kieran's the real winner by getting the frog, but us three can quickly just run through ours in like less than a minute. So I didn't have the greatest run. First game I played against Kieran, I don't think he was expecting me to be playing yellow. And yeah, I just basically did yellow things, aggroing as much as possible with Blessed, and yeah, finishing with the double, you know, the mock Gembu. Then my next game I played Harry. He absolutely slaughtered me with Blazing Ball. Unfortunate. Third game I played against Matt. He was actually playing like a sort of Smaug weird thing. I beat him game 1, and then after sideboarding, I guess he had some decent answers. We went all the way to game 3, and he basically took it down right at the end. He was playing kind of like a green centric build, but it was basically like lots of good cards, and he was basically saying, I don't care if it's not good, I like playing this. And I mean, he got the win from me, so I think it's definitely a cool build. And then finally I played Kian, and he's definitely a yellow specialist. Had a tight game. I think it was 2-1 to him it was 2-1 to him. I did win one game. Very tight, really. Yellow mirror is kind of boring. Like the first game was hilarious. I think we both gained like 8 or 9 life each during the game, so it was just, you know, constantly blessed into blessed. But yeah, no, really cool though. Everyone seemed to be having a good time, and yeah, it's just fun to try and play yellow. I don't think it's too bueno in this meta though, to be quite honest. But you would have seen the couple of games that I had, because I'm future trancing again and talking about the content that's already been. But yeah, anyway, Emmy, what about you? How did your night go?
Yeah, yellow is not too bad, I think, by the way. But
against white,
yeah, no,
I mean,
yeah,
but that's
maybe from a white perspective.
That's an age as old as time, you know. That's how yeah.
Fair enough. But no, it was great. Again, thanks for organizing everything, Josh. Everyone had a lot of fun. We played the games, and then we all hopped on the call and opened the pack. So good fun. For me, I started against Mr. Red, Purple, White, Harry, and just got wiped out in those 2 games. Yeah, the first one was okay. The second one just got Bacillus, King Curse comboed out of the blue, and I was like, all right, sure. So, but apart from that, second game, I won against Kieran, who was playing, I guess like he's gonna talk about it, but it's just like a aggro played non-aggro deck. It was like a mid-range white tempo, I guess. But he was just swinging, and I just found the bounces and the elephants. Second game against Josh S, who was playing Hydra with some really interesting changes. Like he was playing I guess I can say it. Ruby Sanctuaries.
Yeah, I saw that. Very cool.
Of the Hydra, I really like that. He played the 1-drop lizard from the promo pack that Harry was very high on, and then he figured out that it needs 3 cores on level 2 to activate the effect and get
I'll quickly comment on that. So I was playing against someone. I can't remember who it was. I summoned Blazing Boar, and they're like, "Oh, have you tried the new promo, the TP4 promo? It's like Blazing Boar, but it adds an ascend and it costs 1." So I'm like, okay, a 1-drop when summoned, add an ascend from your trash to your hand. Okay, and then it turns out that is not what the card is.
Yeah, Blazing
So,
Boar stocks is still up.
Blazing Boar stonks for life, bro.
Yeah,
Trust
yeah.
me.
No, absolutely. But I think I just managed to get that win against Josh. I was playing, by the way, I was playing like a white mid range with like top end control with the Tigers and Dyna essentially. And the gameplay was like establish a board at the beginning, do chip damage, then play elephant and swing elephant, or find the Dino, fight the Tiger essentially. So that's what happened in those games as well against Jamie. He put me like 2 life on round 2 in the first game, and I had like PTSD from Giganorex time. But then essentially I had the cards to play the Tiger. I think I actually played the elephant first, but yeah, I had at a certain point I had 2 elephants and a tiger down, and it was just game there.
It's so satisfying when white control does that, when you're like you're getting absolutely battered, and then 3 turns later you've got an outrageous board, and you're just like, nothing can touch me now.
if you manage to get there, but
I think that's what I mean. It's really satisfying when it works out like that.
Yeah, one major takeaway there is like Ira really good, but like I put down an elephant and you play the Ira, I also draw 3 and I run 3, and you're playing against white. Do you want to swing and get it bounced? Are you gonna chance it? So just putting it out there, like I think elephant against red really good, Meduk against red really good. But yeah, I ended up my run at 3-1. I lost those 2 games against Harry, so overall pretty happy. Still not very much bought on white, just because I think like people can figure out how to counter it, and if they do, I'm screwed. But yeah, pretty good run.
What about you, Kieran? How was your experience with the online locals? Except, I mean, I guess you got the prize at the end, so.
Yeah,
cry into your frog
is insane. Yeah, it's weird because like I didn't actually remember that I signed up to the locals until like I think I got messaged on the way back. I was like, oh yeah, the locals is happening. I better head home. And I didn't actually have a deck lined up. I had like some testing decks, but they're kind of testing decks. I didn't really want to show them off just yet. So the only deck I really had was like a weird white control kind of list, and I was like, sure, let's play this. And as Emmy said, I was kind of just playing cards and swinging and hoping it works. In reality, when you're playing 7 costs for a spirit and just swinging, it doesn't work. I'll be honest. I would have probably taken white aggro if I had a bit of time to build it, but no can do. But it was all good. Yeah, I mean, I lost every round. I don't know what else there is to say.
Fair enough. But you won the day, though. You won the day, so again.
You got the Karma Hydra. Sorry, not Hydra.
It was quite funny because the more in the losers bracket I went, the quality of players, I guess in terms of tops got better. Like I ended up playing against Emmy into Marv, and in final round, both 0-3 was a Yume. Like, it's so funny, like how the quality of players was just shoved in the losers bracket.
Well, I mean that's what comes with the territory, I guess, of the elite, the most elite online locals there is. I mean, I guess it's probably the only one.
No, don't underestimate online locals.
Group chat, of course.
But look forward to my next online local showing. I'm going to cook something kind of spicy. I'm going to use the online tournaments for some fun, because I think sometimes it's good to play really like just janky fun decks in Battle Spirits.
Absolutely. I mean, that's kind of why I went for yellow. You know, it's kind of like, why not? Like, just I like playing yellow. Let's see if it works. Didn't really work, but it was fun. But yeah, I mean that was a pretty long report. We'll try and make them a bit snappier in the future. But no, it's always great to talk about actually playing the game.
Let's quickly talk about it, and then can you walk me through every single game? What were you
3 hours
about?
later, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Let's go on to our predictions for the upcoming weekend. So for me, I mean, there's a lot of contenders, really. I think people are gonna probably build into Ira or Hydra or Tiger.
Sorry, Josh. We're talking about just for context, we're talking about the preseason, which is happening in Oceania and
South
Mexico.
America,
America.
yeah, South America,
Yeah, it's Mexico, right?
yeah. So these events are happening this weekend, and our event's actually happening 2 weeks from now. So this is kind of like a precursor to us. This might actually decide our meta, weirdly. However, we are here to kind of just predict what we think is going to be the most played decks. I would imagine that Hydra and Ira and Tiger are obviously the 3 main candidates at the moment. Green is still viable as well. Purple, in some kind of context, is definitely viable, I think, as well. Like, I think everything is going to be possibly represented. However, I think Hydra and Ira are really going to be the 2 popular decks. They both have a lot of gas at the moment. Hydra especially is super strong. People don't like playing into white control, and finishing the game turn 4 is a way to do that. Ira as well, obviously we've chatted a lot. Harry had good success with it today. The tools it has, the board clear, it's just a very, very strong package. And I think for now, I mean, I'm sure people will get more creative as the this part of the season goes on, as they always do. But for now, those decks out of the box kind of seem like the ones that are going to be getting those top 32 places for Pro Tour. What about you guys? What do you think, Kieran? What do you think people are mostly going to play? Like if you had to pick one deck?
I think it's just Hydra, right? Like, I think we've spoken about it over the last few weeks, and I think the general opinion hasn't really changed much. I think the 3 you said were the best 3 like boss monsters, and probably the best 3 decks because of that. There was a winner case tournament also over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Don't know the local store. Sorry. Actually, no, I do know the local store. It's 1UP, I believe. Not sure where it's located. I think somewhere in the States. I have their page up here. Sorry, I was just like looking.
No, it's good. It's good.
Just want to give the right people their shout outs. Oh no, sorry. It was a store in Italy. Sorry. Store in Italy, 1UP. Shout out to them for doing a winner case. I believe, I don't think they did it in the right order, but the top 3 were 2 Hydras and an Ira. So I think that probably does kind of back up what you claimed. But yeah, I mean, the Hydra lists were Hydra lists and the Ira list was Ira. Like,
nothing too fancy, you know? Anything spicy in there?
I mean, there's a few cards. Both Hydra lists were running 2 copies of Volcanic Canyon, as a shout out to that card. 4 Pollens for just counting how many Nexuses they were on. They were on 13 Nexuses, 12 and 13 Nexuses.
Jeez, so 13 Nexuses.
That's Hydra.
Yeah, these are the Hydras. Cthulhu Shock also in the main deck, 1 and 2 copies. Only one person had 2 frogs. I assume the other list that played no frogs wasn't of choice.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, solid list, and shout out to the Allegro and the sideboard as well for one of the players.
Yeah, two Volcanic Canyons in Hydra is definitely very good. I mean, when I've tested Hydra, Volcanic Canyon has kind of been a staple. You know, you're kind of looking, like, the way I see it is you have the Canyon. If you get that out, then the strong draws become +3s for 1 energy, one core.
Yeah. I think the other shout-out card I want to give is Countersword. Countersword was at 4 copies in the sideboard for 1 player and 3 copies in the sideboard for the other, so 7 copies of sideboard between the 2 lists.
Holy moly! I guess what would that would just target Ira, I guess.
Ira, yeah. So they summon Grey, and then you top deck it, and then they might not be able to Ira.
Tokiwa, I guess. Mok Genbu, I guess.
Yeah.
All the Ascends, I guess.
Well,
besides of Tiger and Hydra.
Yeah.
Also, don't play Pollen after you have Hydra on board. You know.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah.
And also for time on the round, obviously.
I will say the only problem with like they play Grey, you countersword the Grey. They still have the reduction for the Ira because it's the Nexus Ascend spirit you play, not Next Spirit. So it doesn't. It's not crazy effective. But
yeah, it depends. It depends if they have the target or not. I guess it's a situational move.
So like Kian used it on me in locals, and I happen to have the Andromeda out. But bear in mind, like red is comparable to purple in that like you are quite mana scarce quite a lot of the time, and realistically, like red play like 4 Andromeda, however many numbers of Grey. You don't always have the thing to ascend over. Like you might have Nova, Ira, Grey, and then it's like the Grey is the instrumental piece. So yeah, countersword is probably the most viable bit of disruption in the side that you can do for it.
I think the one Nexus I want to kind of pick your guys' opinion on that they run. So they both run 3 copies of the Submarine Volcano, the new Nexus.
Yeah.
What's your guys' opinion on that card?
It's actually very annoying. I've tested against it a bit, and it's just very super disruptive. The added mill is outrageous, you know, and that combined with a frog as well. I think that's
8, right?
Yeah, I mean that's 8 cards, and then if you're swinging and hitting an 8 cost, that's a 16 card mill. You know, that is outrageous.
It probably helps your red matchup as well, right? Because I assume red wants to pop all your Nexuses, and you've got a Volcano where if they pop it, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it would be the lowest priority kill, to be honest. But like, you probably run more Nexuses in Hydra than you can kill. I think like Seabed and Labyrinth are the 2 big ones that you want to snipe.
And obviously
and Paler as well.
Paler Forest, Volcanic Canyon. There's a lot of options.
It's good at shark fodder as well, right? Obviously, because you pop it for shark summoned, and then you get back a Nexus.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, arguably, I'd say that the best non-labyrinth blue Nexus is definitely Seabed Lighthouse. The disruption's great if your opponent happens to have no Nexuses out, and you manage to clear their board. They literally cannot do anything from their hand, which is is brutal. I think that's definitely the card that people need to be considering to play around in reality. But yeah, no. So yeah, Hydra.
I would play that Nexus just to add my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Like, you're already tight for space. I think you definitely want the 4 Labyrinth. You want 2 maybe Seabeds.
What was their card total, Kieran? Does it say?
A lot of builds play like 4 Seabed.
The whole main deck in general.
Yeah, the main deck size.
50 for both.
50 for both. Okay, and they're running 12 Nexuses. So what, like 20 spirits or something? I guess very low amount.
Maybe less.
Well, 4, 8, 10. 20 spirits for one.
Yeah.
So 20 spirits.
Right on the button, baby.
Yeah.
That is
it's an interesting. I mean, you've got so much draw power with the Volcanic Canyons, I guess, right? Volcanic Canyons, the strong draws, the Star Blasts.
They play the Golem, the Rock Golem.
No Golem. The only spirits they play is the Manticore, the Gladiator Squallow, the Deep Walker, Shark, Hydra, and Pollen. And if they have got the frogs, they play copies of the frog and take out the Squallow, I think.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, fair play.
Send it to me. I'll put it on screen.
So what do you guys think then, Emmy and Harry? Between you, do you think that Hydra is going to be the dominant force? Is that what people are going to be playing? Is that what people can agree on? I will say Harry first to answer.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess in terms of the meta in general, I do think like Hydra and Ira are the 2 front runners. and the matchup is quite even. Like, oh, obviously I won the online locals and that, but I didn't play Hydra. I played a game with Carlo afterwards. He was playing Hydra. I think you watched that, Josh. It went right down to the wire. It was literally like, I had no cards in deck, final turn, and then just happened to win. Like, the matchup is very tight between those two.
Yeah, it's definitely an even one. Yeah.
Yeah, because like the Hydra can aggress really early, but obviously with the Star Dragons are able to heal and counterattack as well. So it's I mean, hopefully, as Kieran said, Battle Spirits is not the best spectator sport. Hopefully that matchup will increase that, because it is pretty feisty to watch it. Like, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually this new speed of the game that we've now got is much more viewer friendly.
Yeah.
Like it's not as slow paced anymore. So yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, we're going to be doing more video content for you guys, trying to film as many games as we can at the locals, and maybe even practice games and stuff to just get more content out there, because there's not really many people doing it right now. So
for sure,
got to keep it alive.
I will say that my brave prediction is that, and I think Karen will appreciate this, Purple will make the finals of one of those two events. I think Purple is
top two,
probably even better than White is right now. Like, White feels like when it draws well, it does well, but it's even more Nomengard reliant than before somehow. Like, obviously, if you draw 3 Nomengard, you're chilling, but like those games where you don't are just brutal. Like, it's really difficult to. I won't say most, but a lot of decks are running Deadly Balance as a tech. It's like, and the ascent cost is really heavy in White. It's really heavy compared to Red, where you're drawing a jillion cards, or Hydra, where you're applying so much pressure immediately and you don't even have to pay the ascent cost if you've got Labyrinth out. Like, to balance Turbo Rex, Frost Tiger, it's like you don't have any way to remediate that advantage. So like, White is, and also White previously had a pretty unassailable Red matchup because of Enterprise, which now is just completely out the window. So it's like, White is in a difficult spot, I think, whereas Purple gets double deadly. It gets I don't know the name of the Serpent X rare off the top of my head,
Rixer,
but we know
the other one.
Yeah, 4-drop thing.
It's got the
Busha, right?
It's got the gem-headed pigeon as well, Harry. No.
Yeah. Oh, of course. And look.
I knew you'd react to that one.
Look. I do love Gemhead. Oh, obviously. So in Glasgow, I ran Purple running multiple cores, just because, as aforementioned, like Red and Purple struggle in terms of mana, to where just running multiple cores to gain 1 mana was incredibly helpful back then. And Amethystus is probably the best 0-drop in context, because you have like Deadly Balance and ways to pop Rotting Swamp. Like, you pop an Amethystus, you draw 2 or 3 more often than not. It's really good. And Purple has great cards in that 6 to 7-drop range. Nemesis is really good right now. Like, Nemesis is probably the best that it's ever been, just as a card. So with all those things in mind, yeah, having an extra 0-drop is very helpful now. I wasn't going to talk about Gemhead Pigeon that much, to be honest. I just think that Purple, between Deadly Balance and now Double Deadly, on top of the tools that it already had with Dragonaga Assassin, Aglavale, now you add Ouroboros into that mix, to where...
Costume Maker as well. Don't forget that from set 3.
Costume Artist as well.
Costume Artist, that's it.
Purple's very consistent and like methodical in terms of what it does, whereas with other decks, they're a bit more high rolly. It's like, I need to draw these 2 cards, and if I draw these 2 cards, I win. Purple is pretty much able to, especially in the early game, get its engine up and running. It's just, how does it pad out that late game? It's like, Purple is to build generally, but
Purple due to the tempo of Purple early game as well, it can suffer into the Hydra matchup. I think sometimes Purple's like only just getting going on turn 4, where Hydra will be like 2-3 things on board with with a Hydra and you've only got one thing to defend yourself, it's not a good spot for purple. But at the same time, it does have the tools to play through those situations. I think if Double Deadly didn't have the thing where you have to have a thing on board, then it would be obviously in a really incredible spot. But
it would be insane.
Yeah.
Every main
but
deck,
I think
just never summon a spirit and then kill two things.
I think like you said, utilizing the zero cost, the low cost creatures in this meta might be kind of a paramount sort of way to play purple if you actually want to play in the meta. But
in a vacuum, if it's like I go first, I play Rotting Swamp, next turn Amethystus, Nemesis. Would I have to sack one of the 1-drops for that?
Depends if you get attacked or not, really, I guess.
Or the 0-drops. I mean, yeah, it would depend on if you're attacked. But let's say you sack one of the 0-drops, you swing Nemesis, pop the other thing, like draw 2. Like it's fine. You're more than happy to play that mana rock style with purple, I think, because you get so much reward once you get into that range where you're dropping Black Lances and Nemesises, getting the value off the draw. It's very interesting strat. I don't think it will be that prevalent for these pre-release tournaments just because of how scarce Gemhead Pigeons are, but I think purple in a general sense is very well positioned, to be honest.
Yeah, I love playing purple as well. For me, it's my kind of rogue color. I don't really play it that often, but whenever I play it, it always seems to be like outrageously fun, the self-destruction side of things. So no, I look forward to probably playing that over this season. But yeah, I mean, Emmy, have you got any like final thoughts on what you think is going to be the big kahuna coming up to these tournaments?
Yeah, let me wrap up then. Maybe we transition to some of the questions we have.
Yeah, that was
take one each. But yeah, just to wrap up, I think my prediction is that whoever, there's gonna be decks that will do well that we're like maybe not even considering right now. I also think purple, it's really well positioned, but I think like just walk into this event thinking you need to beat the Hydra deck, and then you need to be able to have the resources partially in main and a bit inside to deal with Tiger and Ira. I think that if you have that in mind, you can do it. With that being said, yeah, I think Hydra is just gonna take it because it's too early. It's too early, and we don't know how to effectively deal with it. And I mean effectively deal with it. And maybe we'll figure it out this weekend or next weekend. But on that point, maybe if we want to transition, and Josh, you can ask one of us one of these questions. We have 4 questions, and maybe the first one from Enoch is a good transition.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, we're doing a Q&A now. If you want to ask us questions, feel free to ask in the comments or join our Discord. Another plug for the Discord. Come join the Discord. We have a channel in which you can ask questions, and we will note them down and we will gradually answer them. If we get like too many questions, we may do sort of like special Q&A maybe towards the end of the season perhaps. But yeah, so we're going to start off with our first question from the Sensei Enoch. How do you guys think the color ratio in Wolverhampton will be? What will be the most popular color and what will be the least popular color? And we'll try and make it snappy, but give me a quick reason behind your thoughts on that. And I guess we'll just ask one person for each question, and I'll ask Harry.
Don't give this to me because I actually answered it for him in the chat, thinking that he was answering it.
Okay. In that case, Emmy. I said Emmy, not Harry.
Yeah, I'll read Harry's answer. 1 second. No, I'm just kidding. I think color ratio for Wolverhampton will be something like 40% Hydra. 40% Hydra, 40 to 50, and then there will be a 20% red Ira. And the rest 30 to 40% will be probably split between a 15 15 Tiger wide control, and a 15 between others and aggro.
So do you think those lower percentages? Do you think the reason people will be playing that is because people will be playing their sort of mainstay colors instead of deviating to like purple or red?
Yeah, I think like learning from past performances predict future or something like that. If we think about previous metas, like as soon as like they get established, I think there is a rush to either play the strongest thing, perceive the strongest thing, or counter it. And then there's people that just like to play their color, but being so competitive, I think the amount of people that will just play the color they like will be lower. So maybe I'm really wrong, but I think like in general, maybe the 80% of the field will be between Hydra, Ira, and White Control. And I might be completely wrong, but yeah, I feel that might be my prediction.
Okay.
Bear in mind, we don't know how many people are going to be there. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Enoch, for our inaugural Q&A question. Emmy, do you want to ask the next question?
Sure. I'll ask the next question to Kieran, which is from Trevi. Trevi CCG from YouTube. And he asks, I've got a great question. If I win the game by drawing my Ascend Spirit and it's the 17th card of my deck, would it be better for me to play a card that gets me 2, 3, 4, or 5 cards further in my deck?
It's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. So naturally, if there was a 0 cost draw 5, 0 cost draw 1, we'd play the 0 cost draw 5. But in reality, it's not 0 cost. The card that gets you through 5 cards in your deck costs 5 basically. And let's spin it. So in this kind of mill-centric meta, here's an argument. It's better to go through less of your deck. You want to keep your deck total quite high. You want to play. You want to take it nice and slow. I think so. I mean, obviously, seeing 5 cards is better, but it's not always fine. It's one of those weird metrics. See, if knowing my luck, I'm gonna like play Ancient Draw with the top 3. My opponent goes Crush for 2, and I mill 2 Hydras. All right, nice. So if I didn't play the Ancient Draw, I would have not.
I swear, Ancient Draw is cursed, man. It's a cursed card. Like it should be called Ancient Ice Shield Draw to the bottom of your deck.
Yeah. I have not seen a single person add an Ascend card off it.
I have seen it work out.
It's a skill issue. It's a skill issue.
I once saw a player get 2 Ascend targets. They got Ira and Seagull. I was just like, oh, I am so dead. But no, yeah. In reality, it's 9 times out of 10 not great.
I will kind of spin the question a little bit, so. The thing with Battle Spirits right now, and this is kind of the difference between a card like Pollen and Ancient Draw, is when Pollen mills into the graveyard, there's quite a few ways to recur stuff from the graveyard, like your graveyard becomes like a second hand. We're seeing that a bit more in direction with things like, if you end up milling like a Beldegor, you've got Immortals now. If you end up, if you have Impaler, you can fish out your Hydra,
I think blue strategies have kind of had to go that way because there's not really much plus in blue, right? So recursion's kind of like the way to play it. It seems
we saw that with green last set, right? Green with all the ramp was playing Beldegor packages left, right, center just because they didn't have any advantage, right? They were in the exact same position. And I think right now, I mean, there's no way to shuffle your deck, right? So when something goes to the bottom, it's at the bottom, right? I'm not too sure what the future of Battle Spirits was like in Japan, so I can't really comment about, is it like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon where you search your deck a million times in the end?
I think they're actually trying to avoid that, just judging by, Masters Dragon Ball is like that, where you shuffle constantly, but their newer games like One Piece, Fusion World, none of them are touching the deck as a shuffle. It's always to the bottom, so I think they're trying to avoid too much shuffling now, which is I think kind of a good thing. It helps to
It's
mitigate
a good
cheaters and stuff.
anti-cheating mechanism as
Yeah,
well.
exactly,
Like
yeah.
games where you look through your deck are just like prime for cheating.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It's mitigating
Yeah.
the chances for players to cheat. So, but yeah, so yeah, do you wanna take Cool Brother's question to Harry, Kieran? Do you have them up, or do you want me to ask it?
Yeah, no, I've got the next question. So, Harry, so you're the guy who builds all the crazy decks, and you're known for being the crazy guy. So this question is perfect for you. So, Cool Brother, he just they just want to know what's the best way to identify the ideal strategy for their deck, because this person, they feel like they never understand their own decks as well as the top players. So maybe they're maybe they're like they're going on like Eggman, they're net decking the decks, but they don't really understand that strategy. So how can they figure that out?
Yeah, I read that recently. I think this is a curious question because I think Battle Spirits is quite talented when it comes to players of the game, but the game is very rich when it comes to things that one can do with their decks. But sometimes playing, it's like you'll play against the deck and you're sort of like, well, what is this trying to go towards? For me personally, like I tend to start with a card that I'm building around. So like the launch event was like Elk. I was building around Elk, and throughout set 1 season it was like, okay, Nova, I was building around Nova. Generally, like you have to start somewhere and then just work around it. And
Would you say starting with a boss is the way to go? Because obviously both of those cards would be considered top end.
yeah, well, like it can be that. It can also be like I don't know. It might be a Nexus. I mean, the spells aren't powerful enough in this game to where you would build around a spell necessarily.
What about
Unless
Ancient
Ice
Draw?
Shield was so valuable.
Just kidding.
But like, let's use Ice Shield as an example. It's like, well, getting into maximal copies of Ice Shield isn't gonna win you a game inherently. But like back in day when Netherworld Depths existed, it's like, well, yeah, Depths might be powerful enough to be a build around in that sense. But generally, yeah, you're right. Like the game is spirit driven, so it would be focused on a spirit. But yeah, I think like just start simple. I think decks can often try to be doing too many different things at once, and it needs like a focal starting point. And Kieran so that I'm the crazy deck guy. I think like the weirdest decisions come from logical places where it's like, if I'll use Glasgow and PT2 as example. So Glasgow, the build around was actually multiple cores within purple. I was just like, I just love multiple cores. I was like, I love this card. So where does this fit best? And I was like, well, it probably fits best in purple because that 1 mana results in a lot of draw in purple. And like as a card, multiple cores, it's a neg 1, ramp 1, but purple draws a lot. So it would make the most sense to apply this within purple. And then as it turned out, it was good. Like, obviously it depends on the context in which you're applying it as well. Like I go to locals more now, but back then I didn't really go to locals a lot. I was willing to use grand opens as environments in which to test, which is relevant in that, like, compared to a PT, for example, where you obviously want to do well. There are things that will do well, like Kieran just slaughters Play Nation week after week after week, but that might not necessarily translate to a grand open environment where it's like a double locals, let's say. Whereas I would treat grand opens sometimes as like testing environments to like stress test particular ideas. And sometimes it works. Like Glasgow wasn't like, I didn't go into it like, yeah, I've cracked the code. It was just like, yeah, I love multiple cores. It seems to work well in purple. Let me try it here. It panned out that way. So just focus on one particular card that you enjoy, that you like, I would say. And then the rest sort of just works itself out over testing. A clear win condition needs to be defined. Again, there are some just based on like how much we all play. Like, again, we have a WhatsApp group of like 50 people in it. We all play a lot, and sometimes you'll play against decks where it's like, what is the purpose of this? And there isn't really a purpose to it. It's just like, I'm just trying to branch different things. To use PT2 as an example, again, that was like a pure purple deck. I think going into that environment, like Soul Purple was forecasted to be the best deck, but there were contextual environments that made Tin Soldier particularly desirable. Volcanic Break was limited, and creatures that were 4K were really good. Things like Dragonaga, Assassin, Worker Ant-Man, Hippocampo on 3 cores. They were all really good exactly because Volcanic Break was limited, and there were limited ways to deal with it at that point in time. So Tin Soldiers being a free-to-play 3-core 5K, you can block anything, made it good. And within Purple, the fact that Purple is quite split between Purple Smoke Valley and Rotting Swamp. So the fact that you could liquidate the Tin Soldier immediately for Rotting Swamp, like you could use it to hold up a board defensively and then immediately get rid of it, made it very desirable even within like a pure purple Blessed Cathedral aside. And it wasn't until like the week before where we were like, okay, we might as well run a couple Blessed Cathedral, just and other players were running Hippocampo as well. I think there were loads of decks running Hippocampo and like control decks, for example, just because swing, gain 1 life, you lose a life was so significant at that point in time to where the Tin Soldier increase in value. So just start with a premise and then work from there, rather than trying to just like fit a bunch of things in together.
One thing to bear in mind as well in conclusion is deck building in this game is a very delicate process. So I think you have to put time into your deck. You have to consider all the other cards in the meta really, and make sure that you don't necessarily have to build around other decks, but make sure you're at least keeping your opponents in mind when building decks, and you'll have more of an understanding of what you're trying to achieve towards the end of the game for sure. But yeah, as Harry,
the longer the game goes on, the less straightforward it is, and I think most TCGs have like a set design, marketing design, where it's like you buy the archetype, you build the archetype. Like having played Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic, stuff like that, it's like there are these preset structures. And what I love about Battle Spirits and what I loved about early Yu-Gi-Oh is that it isn't that straightforward. As you say, it's like you find something and like you have to hone it, you have to take time with it, and everyone is quite bespoke in terms of what they're doing, what they're working with. Like patience is key. Whereas in terms of the sort of TCG consumerism pattern, it tends to be, okay, well, I'll just look at what the people have done well, have used. It's like maybe the 5 to 10% of the player base who are the ones designing the decks, and then the rest just purchase the product and do it. Like Battle Spirits is quite unique in that respect, which is why it's good. In my opinion, I don't know.
On that note, I mean, I think we can just finish there. So yeah, thanks Harry for that insight. That was really solid. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching. We're trying to finish these pods on about the hour mark, so this is a perfect time to do it. But yeah, we will have more content coming soon, guys. And yeah, join the Discord, chat with us, and yeah, let's play the Battle Spirits and spread the word that this is the best TCG in the current market that's absolutely brimming full with new card games coming out. So, but yeah, thanks a lot, guys. And yeah, we'll see you all next time.
Thank you.